After the events of last episode, we see the students take charge in the fight against Gingantomachia. I guess I can say his name properly. And we also see Shigaraki potentially going plus ultra. Welcome, my name is Mouth Grenadian. This is episode 7 of My Hero Academia. Thank you so much for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, and let's just get straight into the video. We start off with Momo. If you don't know who Momo is, she is the student who can create things that she knows the chemical structure of. And the way she does it is she uses the fat in her body and she just creates the stuff. For last episode, she was on the phone with Midnight, and Midnight says she's too injured to carry on. You guys need to look out and put Gingantomachia to sleep. So Momo, in this episode, she takes the leader position. She organizes all the students and they come up with a plan to put Gigan, I'm going to call him Gigan just for short, to sleep. And so she figures out that the villains must be hiding on top of Gigan, simply because the blue flames that they saw earlier is the same blue flames that Aizawa was attacked with at the training camp they were at. And so they put a plan to motion, and so she makes these canisters filled with anesthetics to put him to sleep. And so Juzo, he suffers the ground to meet Gigan's measurements. And then we have Mineta. She makes like a sticky grape trap to trap the ropes onto Gigan. We have, what's his name, Momo putting dynamite into the softened ground. We have people just doing what they can with the best they can with their quirks. And we do have people worrying about Midnight because she's no longer responding. But at the end of the day, they're heroes, they know the risk, and they know that they have to keep on target. We cut over to Mount Lady. She's still attached to Gigan because Kamui is unconscious right now, and he's the only thing attaching Mount Lady to Gigan. And Gigan is still hauling, she's still sprinting. And so he makes it over to the location where he falls into the trap. And so the students, they all attempt to hold him down so they can throw the anesthetic into his mouth. But this guy is a threat. And I'll tell you why in just a second. Shoji and Ayama, they attack the villains on top using Ayama's laser quirk. And then Kaminari uses the lightning disc that he used in the exam. And he throws it on top and he goes to use it. And then, what's his name? But he is knocked out by Mr. Compress, because Mr. Compress shoots a bunch of these compression things and he decompresses it, and it turns out to be rubble, and they all hit Kaminari dead on. So he's like knocked out. And Gigan, remember when I told you he's a threat? He just releases this huge gust of air from within himself, hitting everyone and knocking them for 6. He even blows some away, like from the location that they're at. And Darby, using his intelligence, he sets fire to his breath, also setting fire to the forest that they're in now. And so now the group is separated by this forest fire, as well as the group near Gigan is in stepping on range. Because if I was Gigan and I was that huge, I would definitely step on some students right about now. I don't care. And so Momo, she realizes he's about to escape, so she blows up the explosive, keeping him there. And the only reason why he's not going further is because, as Mr. Compressor explains, his usual method of movement is to dig. But because the heroes are on his back, the heroes would probably die of suffocation and just the pressure of digging through the earth. So he can't, escape through normal means. And so what happens is the adult heroes arrive. They arrive as reinforcements, and Kamui awakes, allowing Mount Lady to hold open Gigan's mouth. And so Mina, She moves through the fire using her acid armor. She said this is the highest viscosity she has, and she moves through it and is about to throw a canister straight into Gigan's mouth. But this is where we sort of see the intelligence of Gingantomachia. Gigan, he starts to talk and he starts to explain that this method of just going through the heroes of just ignoring the heroes is no longer working. So now my new course of action is to crush all the heroes and then make my way to Shigaraki. And as he's talking now, Mineta or Mina? No, it's Mina. She gets this traumatic trigger because she was frightened. This is like way before the events of the manga. She was basically traumatized by Gingantomachia years ago. So hearing his voice now triggers that memory, and she fumbles the canister in her hand. And Gigan was about to just absolutely crush her. But then the guy, I always fumble his name, Kirishima, takes the hit for her, takes it. And because he's able to toughen up his skin, he's okay. And so he grabbed Mina's canister and he climbs up Gingantomachia. And so what happens is he throws the first one, but then Toga breaks the canister using a knife. But then turns out he had caught Mina's canister and flung it straight into the mouth of Gigan. And then we have all the other heroes turning up to make sure they get control of Gigan. I think Gang Walker's there. Some other heroes that we've seen but we don't know the names of are there, and they're just coming to help, bring down Gingantomachia. What's his name? Jozu softens the ground so the trees go underneath the earth so they get rid of fire. Momo, tells the heroes, look, this is the plan. And so just the reinforcements alone is starting to make things look better. And I think this is a good showcasing of the students, showcasing how much they've learned, how much they've grown, especially someone like Momo, who during the exam, she lost because she was under so much pressure, she couldn't come up with a plan. But keep in mind, Momo is a genius intellect and could very well be like a good leader. So this showcase of her leading the charge, making sure that Gingantomachia is taken care of, is a good showcase of how much she's grown in the series. And so we move from here and we go back to Jaku City. And Endeavor, he walks up to Shigaraki and he says, look, you've taken a pretty big hit from last episode. You're pretty injured. Just surrender now. Okay, you're basically at death's door, so let's just leave it here. But Shigaraki, he goes on this speech basically saying that his father taught him that heroes don't really care about those that are outside their realm of help. So what he's trying to argue is you help those, but then forget about those you missed along the way. So that's why I'm choosing to reject you as heroes, because the ones that are left behind are left to suffer because you can't save everyone because you're doing a bad job. He basically calls them hypocrites and says that you create more problems than you actually solve, which is an interesting argument because you could put this into other hero-based media, say like Batman. You could argue that he creates more of his villains. So it's not a stupid argument, it's just one that needs time to analyze, and maybe a different approach other than killing innocents and decaying thousands. So Endeavor goes to finish him off, right? But Shigaraki is pushing himself. Keep in mind, he's gravely injured, but he's just pushing himself to move and to just commit to his will. This is where Gran Torino steps in and he attacks Shigaraki. But Shigaraki, pushing past his limits, grabs and crushes Gran Torino's foot. Like completely, you can see blood just boom out of his foot. And this is where we get that flashback of when Shimura gave up looking after her family, and Gran Torino was there, and Gran Torino comforted her, telling her, look, I know what you're doing. This is going to be a hard choice, a difficult choice, but I'm going to be here for you. But ultimately, he regrets his decision. He regrets the decision to give up on the family. And this is all before Shigaraki ultimately crushes Gran Torino. So Gran Torino, I think, is dead now. But we know how strong Shigaraki is now. He's probably crushed. So this fires up Deku. Deku's moving like a madman. He's like, you can't believe it. Because remember, Gran Torino is the one that helped Deku control his quirk a bit better. So there's sort of that bond between like teacher and student. And so he moves to go towards Shigaraki, but Shigaraki is like, you're not my main concern, and darts straight for Razorhead. Because with Razorhead gone, he could use his Decay quirk now. And so he runs straight into Ryuku's, the dragon hero, but Ryuku manages to stop him, but he punches a hole into the wing of the dragon hero, revealing he has one of the erasure bullets from Overhaul a couple arcs ago that completely erases quirks. And so Deku, seeing this now, he uses 100% Wyoming Smash. But Shigaraki, he tanks the hit. He takes it full on in his mouth. He yams it like he's Mike Tyson. He just in his mouth. And this gives Shigaraki enough time to add a little bit of pressure to the bullet, firing it, and it hits Mr. Aizawa. And that's where it ends. We know this eraser bullet gets rid of quirks. So if this is successful, then we no longer have Miss Aizawa's quirk to rely on. That means Shigaraki has access to his Decay quirk, and this is not good. It's a great cliffhanger, a great showcasing of the students, not leaving them behind, not giving them the Naruto treatment. It's a good place to stop. It's a good episode. I give it a 7 out of 10. I really like the progression. Tell me what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comment down below. I'm Mark Green. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.